Tola had always believed in the goodness of people. It was a belief that had shaped her life, colored her interactions, and guided her decisions. Her friends often joked that she had a heart too pure for this world, but Tola took it in stride. After all, she had always found that kindness begets kindness, and that philosophy had served her well, until the day she met Wale again. It was a warm afternoon, the sun casting golden hues over the bustling city. Tola had been running errands when she bumped into a man she hadn't seen in over a decade. Wale. The Wale she had known in high school had been a quiet, gentle soul, the type of boy who would help a struggling classmate with their books or stand up for someone being bullied. His kindness had left an impression on Tola, one that time had not erased. "Wale," she asked, her voice laced with disbelief as she looked into his familiar eyes. "Tola." His face broke into a wide smile, one that reached his eyes and crinkled the corners just like she remembered. They stood there for a moment, wrapped in the nostalgia of shared memories, before Wale suggested they catch up over coffee. That coffee turned into dinner, and dinner into long phone calls that lasted late into the night. Before long, Tola found herself falling for the man Wale had become, but in her heart, she still saw the boy he once was. When Wale proposed, Tola's heart leapt with joy. She didn't hesitate to share the news with her family, confident they would be as thrilled as she was. But their reaction was far from what she expected. "Tola, you've only just reconnected with him," her mother cautioned, her brow furrowed with concern. "People change over time. You need to get to know him better." "But I do know him," Tola insisted, her voice firm. "We went to school together. He's the same kind, gentle Wale I remember. There's nothing to worry about." Her family tried to reason with her, pointing out that people could change, that she needed to take her time, but Tola was resolute. She loved Wale, and she believed with all her heart that he was the same person she had admired all those years ago. The wedding was a small, intimate affair. Tola glowed with happiness as she exchanged vows with Wale, her heart soaring with the promise of a bright future. After the ceremony, they moved into a new house in a quiet neighborhood, ready to start their life together. It was a beautiful home, nestled at the end of a cul-de-sac, with a garden Tola immediately began to tend to. Their neighbor, a woman named Ada, welcomed them with open arms. She was strikingly beautiful, with a warm smile that put Tola at ease. They quickly became friends, often spending afternoons chatting over tea while Wale was at work. Tola couldn't have been happier. She loved her new life with Wale. He was attentive, caring, and seemed to adore her. They spent weekends exploring the city, going on long drives, and planning their future together. Tola felt like she was living in a dream. But dreams, as Tola would soon learn, can sometimes turn into nightmares. It started with small, almost imperceptible changes in Wale's behavior. He began coming home later than usual, often distracted and distant. When Tola asked if something was wrong, he would smile and assure her that everything was fine, blaming work for his preoccupation. But Tola couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. One evening, as she was preparing dinner, she overheard a conversation between Wale and Ada in the garden. Their voices were low, urgent, and there was something in Wale's tone that sent a chill down Tola's spine. She couldn't make out what they were saying, but the secrecy of it all gnawed at her. Days turned into weeks, and the tension in the house grew. Wale became more withdrawn, his late nights more frequent. Tola's unease blossomed into full-blown anxiety, but every time she tried to talk to Wale about it, he would brush her off with a kiss and a smile. "You're overthinking, my love," he would say, but his words did little to comfort her. What Tola didn't know was that Wale was struggling with a battle between his heart and the darkness that had consumed his life. He had entered into their marriage with a sinister plan, one that he and Ada had carried out many times before. But Tola's kindness, her unwavering love, was slowly unraveling the hold that evil had on him. Wale found himself torn, drawn to Tola in a way he hadn't expected. She was showing him a love he had never known, a pure, untainted love that began to chip away at the walls he had built around his heart. Ada, however, noticed the change in her husband. She saw the way he looked at Tola, the hesitation in his eyes whenever they discussed their plan. It made her furious. They had a pact, a bond sealed by blood and darkness, and Wale's growing affection for Tola was threatening to destroy it all. Ada confronted him, her voice sharp with anger. "You're getting too close to her," Ada snapped one evening after Tola had gone to bed. "I can see it in your eyes, Wale. You're becoming weak." Wale tried to dismiss her concerns, but the truth was that he was scared of what he was feeling, and scared of what Ada might do if she realized just how deep his feelings for Tola had grown. He begged Ada for more time, hoping that he could find a way out of this mess without hurting Tola. "We'll do it soon," he lied, his heart heavy with guilt. "Just a little longer." But Ada was losing patience. Jealousy gnawed at her, fueled by the fear that Wale was slipping away from her. She decided that if Wale wouldn't finish the job, she would. Tola was just another pawn, another sacrifice, and she would deal with her the way she had dealt with the others. Late one night, while Wale was away on one of his supposed business trips, Ada made her move. She crept into the house, her heart pounding with the thrill of what she was about to do. But Wale, despite his inner turmoil, had been watching Ada closely. He knew her too well and sensed that she would take matters into her own hands. The moment he realized what Ada was planning, Wale felt a surge of panic like he had never known. He abandoned everything and rushed home, praying that he wasn't too late. When he burst through the door, he found Ada standing over Tola, a glint of something dark and deadly in her eyes. Tola, still half asleep, looked up in confusion and fear. "Don't do it, Ada," Wale shouted, his voice trembling with desperation. "Leave her alone." Ada turned to Wale, her face twisted with rage. "You've gone soft, Wale. She's nothing. Just like the others." But Wale couldn't go through with it. He had seen something in Tola, something good and pure, that had reached into the darkest parts of him and planted a seed of doubt. For the first time in years, Wale wanted to be more than just a puppet of evil. He wanted to be free of the darkness that had consumed him. "Please, Ada," Wale pleaded, stepping between her and Tola. "I can't do this anymore. I won't." Ada's eyes narrowed, her hand tightening around the ritual cloth she had brought with her. "You're weak, Wale. You'll die with her." "I'd rather die than live like this," Wale said, his voice steady despite the fear coursing through him. In that moment, something in Ada snapped. She lunged at Wale, aimed the ritual black cloth at his neck. But Wale was faster, fueled by a desperation born from his newfound resolve. He wrestled the cloth from her, but in the struggle, it slipped from his grasp and dropped to the ground. For a moment, they just stood there, breathing heavily, the reality of what was happening crashing down on them. Tola, who had been frozen with fear, finally found her voice. "Wale, what is going on?" Wale turned to her, his eyes filled with regret. "Tola, I'm so sorry. You were never supposed to know. I never wanted you to find out like this." Tola's heart raced as she listened to Wale's confession. He told her everything, the dark rituals, the countless victims, the pact he and Ada had made years ago. But he also told her how she had changed him, how her kindness had shown him a different path, one he never thought possible. "I can't hurt you, Tola," Wale said, his voice breaking. "I've done terrible things, but I can't do this to you. Your goodness, your love, it's made me see how wrong I've been. I'm ready to give it all up, even if it means facing the consequences." Tola listened, her mind reeling from the horror of it all. She couldn't believe what she was hearing, that the man she had married, the man she had loved, was capable of such evil. And yet, as she looked into Wale's eyes, she saw the truth of his words. He was conflicted, torn between the darkness he had known for so long and the light she had shown him. But it was too much. Too much to forgive, too much to forget. Tola couldn't stay, not after everything she had learned. She backed away, shaking her head. "I can't, Wale. I can't do this." Wale's face crumpled with pain, but he nodded, understanding. "I know, Tola. I know. Just, please, go. Get away from here. You deserve a life free of all this." Tola didn't need to be told twice. She fled the house, her heart pounding, tears streaming down her face. She left behind everything, her home, her marriage, the man she had once loved. Wale watched her go, his heart heavy with regret. He knew that his life, as he had known it, was over. Ada had already fled, their twisted bond shattered by the night's events. There was nothing left for him now but to face the consequences of his actions. The next morning, Wale walked into the police station and turned himself in. He told them everything, implicating himself and Ada in the series of murders they had committed over the years. The law would take its course, and Wale was ready to pay the price for his sins. As for Tola, she began a new life far from the memories of her past. The scars would remain, but she was determined to move forward, to heal from the nightmare that had nearly consumed her. Tola was no longer the naive girl who had fallen for a charming smile. She had learned the hard way that evil can wear the mask of kindness, that the people you trust the most can be the ones who destroy you. And she would be ready. She knew that she had been lucky to escape, lucky to have touched something good in a man who had lost his way. But she also knew that she could never go back, never trust so blindly again. The shadows of deceit had nearly destroyed her, but in the end, Tola had found her way back to the light. And that, she knew, was the beginning of a new story, one where she would be the author of her own fate. I hope you enjoyed this tale of souls. If so, please like, subscribe. Till next time. Thank you.